Hello and welcome to the quarantine stream. It's been a little bit of a crazy week. Everything has changed. We had a lot of things that we wanted to do and we didn't do. Another, well, another thing that we didn't do, as usual. I mean, we are late on everything. There are so many things that we wanted to publish and we didn't publish them. So maybe we should change our name from Top RPDR Videos to Late RPDR Videos. Maybe that'll work. We'll see about that. So, what's going on? Well, we wanted to publish a new episode of The Chop. It's almost done, so it probably will come out in the next 2 to 3 days. And in this episode, we're going to take a look at how a villain is made and what does it exactly mean to have a reality TV show where you need to stir up some drama, you know? Sometimes you think that having talented people in there is more than enough to have a good show, but in the end, you need a villain. So, how is a villain made? We're going to find out. And you're not gonna like it. I'm going to like making it though. So, this is what's coming out soon. Now, updates. Blame It on the Edit is back. This is fantastic. We also have a bad news about that. We didn't get monetized again. But, you know, this is YouTube. What can you expect? At least we have the video out. This is the important thing. So we have some people in the chat. Hello, Amateur Season. We have Joachim Lothric. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. Hello and welcome. We shot Live 8 on day 1. Hey! We are the usual. We are the usuals. Very well. So let's go on. Last time we talked, we had a live stream on Friday. We did some speculations, but we didn't really go into the episode. There was really not much to go on. We had the 2 premieres. And last week we had the first episode in which someone was eliminated. And that's what I want to talk about during this live stream for the moment. I want to talk about what happens between the time in which the queens get to send their tapes in and the time in which we get the Meet the Queens. So we understand who they are, we get to know them, and so on. So there is a whole time in between in which what they do is decide who is coming on the race. So I want you to imagine for a moment that you have this huge conference room and you have someone who has a bunch of files with a psychological evaluation for all the 40, 50, 70 queens that they have in there. And then maybe they start projecting them and say, okay, oh, we have this one. This one is like this one is like that. Okay, next, what do we need? Well, we need a funny queen. Okay, these are the 3 funny queens that we have. And they go on and they go on and they go on. And they eventually reach a point in which they say, okay, who is going to be the villain? Okay, we have this queen, we have this other queen, and you have to understand, you do not just make a villain, okay? You have to have the raw material to start with. So of course, in the psychological evaluation, you have things like, okay, are you prone to anger? Are you impulsive? Are you self-centered? These are all great qualities that you need for having a good villain. And of course, that is not enough, and we will talk about it in the next episode, but I want you to concentrate on Dahlia for the moment, because last stream that we made a remark in that. And that was that in episode 2, Dahlia had an edit in which she was presented as a villain, but when you actually hear what she has to say during the confessional, she is America's sweetheart. She laughs, she has the time of her life, she's never catty, she doesn't really have any of those snarky comments, you know, until the very end of the last episode in which she rushes away from the runway and maybe they have one confessionals in which she says something. But other than that, she's pretty normal. She's not a villain. And then you look at Dahlia in real life and you see things like what happened, for example, a couple days ago. She tweeted that Roxy's bus stop story was fake and she's pretty messy. She's pretty messy out there. But you know what I think it happened? She went on the show and said, okay, good. I'll try to be as nice as I can. I need this. I want to have a nice paycheck. I want to get known and so on. So she played it nicely. But the problem is, she was probably cast to be a villain. And when a villain is not behaving, well, you have to adjust on course. So she was one of the two predictions that we made last week, and I'm glad that we made them because they kick her out. So we have a shortage of villains. That's the problem. And if you remember the predictions that we made during the first episode, well, those are probably the people who are going to get that villain edit after all. So, where were we? Oh, Dahlia. No, I think I missed a piece. I messed up. I actually messed up. I had some other screenshot to show, but I messed up because I'm pretty destroyed. Fantastic. That is so professional. That is the mark of a professional. So what happened during the last episode? Well, the episode was pretty boring. I was pretty bored during the whole episode. And I don't know if you noticed, but the queen who shall not be named, the one who was disqualified, she had 0 confessional time this episode. So between the time in which they disqualified her and the time in which episode 3 aired, it looks like they had time to, snip her out a little bit and put some other confessionals inside. So that completely destroyed our system of finding out who is going to be eliminated based on the confessionals, because it's pretty strange. We looked at the confessional for episode 2, for example, and the queen who shall not be named was the narrator of the episode. She was always on screen. She was like 15 times on screen. It was unbelievable. So we are going to have to put this confessional thing actually into perspective with the whole episode and starts weighted properly if we want to really understand what's really going on. And we're going to do that. What stuck out during episode 3 for me was how bad the challenge was. I don't know who is writing this thing. This show used to be so queer, so strange. We had queens from outer space and return to Uranus and go outside in full drag, and now we have this thing. I don't know. I guess we'll have to deal with that. Who stuck out during the challenge was Aiden. Aiden was so bad. I am sorry. I know she's a bedroom queen. She doesn't have that much experience. She doesn't have that much money to invest in drag and so on. But she's coming out a tiny bit delusional. She's probably going to get a Fifi award, because at some point she came out and said, when she actually entered in episode 2, she said, well, Atlanta is not a very diverse scene, but is it? Do you have any idea the queens that come from Atlanta? You have queens from Dragula. You have queens from every season of drag. There is a ton of people. It's basically, she doesn't want to say she's a bedroom queen. As if there was something wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with it. Come on. Everybody starts as a bedroom queen, each one of these girls, they start in their bedroom. So there's nothing wrong with it. Just come out with it. If you come out and say, oh, well, I am a bedroom queen, then people will start judge you by the amount of growth that you have. But if you don't say it, people will compare you to the other queen and say, okay, you're not polished. Your dresses are, they're not high concept. There is nothing there. There is the hot glue and desperation. That's what you have. That's what I see. If you don't come to me and tell me I'm a bedroom queen, so put that into perspective when you judge me. But she didn't say that, so we are going to judge her and compare her directly to the other queen. She was underwhelming. She deserved to go home. And why am I going back to Aiden? Because in my mind, I like to have this thing, I have this fantasy that after the judging from episode 3, they all went into emergency mode and came out and say, oh fuck, Dahlia is not behaving like a villain. What the fuck do we do now? And so somebody comes out and say, okay, fantastic. Who was supposed to go home? Well, Aiden was supposed to go home. No, keep Aiden. Trash Dahlia. Dahlia is not doing her job. With Aiden, we can do a little bit of something, because Aiden is a bedroom queen, and a lot of people watching at home might be bedroom queens. So in a way, she appeals to someone. She has a reason to be on the show. Everybody that you see in the show needs to appeal to someone. That's how you create an heterogeneous cast that make your show really worth watching and feel like it's original and not sitting on itself. And I wanted to remind you, I wanted to remind you of season 7 for a moment. There were so many look queens that made the season unwatchable. But about season 7, I also want to say it aged quite well. When I look back, it's such a train wreck that it's extremely entertaining to watch. But that is the prime example of not having a diverse cast in there. So we have Aiden, and in my fantasy, they decided to keep Aiden. They switched Aiden with Dahlia. So we're going to have Aiden for a little bit more because villains usually stay, 2 or 3 episodes with all the cast together. And we will come back to it when we do the prediction. Now, the problem with Aiden was not just with the challenge. She sticked out so much for how bad it was. It was the runway. The runway was, I don't, in a way, I feel sorry, I don't want to go too hard on it. But when I saw it, I thought, come on, come on. It's a dress with hot glue and bows, store-bought bows she made. I don't know. It looks so disinvested. That's the problem. It's not basic. Everything basic if can stand out if you put a little bit of a twist to it. But this is like the basic of basics, and that's that doesn't work for me. Let's say it like that. That doesn't work for me. With that said, she is a brand new queen. She just came out of the bedroom, so even though she didn't come out as a bedroom queen, I invite you to really a little put her into perspective, So we're here, we talk shit, we do this, but this is a show. This is not real life. Okay? I would never tweet or something bad, for example, so don't go out and do this kind of shit. This is a show, it's about talking shit. Real life is about respecting people. So I noticed that somebody went really hard on Aiden, and she responds. She's that kind of queen, which is good. But in the perspective of the show, she's underwhelming. Let's say it like this. I would have preferred to have Dahlia in. See Dahlia snap, being that bitch that I see on Twitter or quoted on Reddit. That's what I wanted because I like a drama season. What I don't like is the way people react to the real people in real life after we have a drama season, but I do like a good drama season. That is so entertaining to watch, if you know what I mean. So what should we expect going out into the next episodes? Well, we have a lack of villains. So having a lack of villains means that what we said in episode 1 is even more valuable. So if Widow is not going to become a villain, then Jackie and Britta are going to be probably our main villain. I don't know about Jackie because I noticed something about Jackie. I don't know if you guys noticed that. But she looks like she is the one who gives that little push to stir up a little bit of drama. I rewatched the episode 1 again, and I realized that somehow she's always there putting that little bit of something. Like in episode 1, when they come back after doing the rehearsal, you see that Jackie is coming out with a strange tone of voice saying to Widow, are you still bothered about what happened? I'm just putting it there. It looks to me like behind the scenes, Jackie is the one queen that basically the production takes to the side and say, okay, please say this during the episode, say that during the episode. There is always one queen like that because it helps having the show go in the direction that the producers want the show to go. So there is always some sort of a talk back to the queens. If you remember in episode 5, oh my god, I'm destroyed. In season 5, you had Detox that came out and said the producer pulled me apart and told me to help Jinx because it helped with the storylines. And this is normal. This is normal what happens. And I think this is what happens with Jackie because she is smart, all right, but she is not smart the way the kind of smart that I like. She is being smart for herself. If she's doing this, this is helping her career, so it's fantastic for her. But from the perspective of a viewer, it's not that much of a good look. So I don't think the edit is going to turn around a collaborative queen. So I think that our main villain must be Britta. So now that we have put all of this into perspective, let's look at the charts that we have for episode 3 when Dahlia went home, so that we understand. No, this is Britta. Sorry. I continuously mess up with the screenshot. I concentrate in talking and I forgot to show you things. This is so unprofessional. So unprofessional. I need to hire an intern, which is going to be great. Just kidding, of course. We're not a company. We don't hire anybody. So let's go to the chart before I fall asleep and bang my head to the wall. This is the chart for episode 3. Take a look at Britta. She's the third from the left. Look at how many negative confessionals she has. It's incredible. It's incredible. I was thinking this, and if you follow the last stream, you know exactly what I said about Britta and Jackie. But when you actually count the confessionals, when you actually count the negative comments in it, it's incredible. It's incredible. Britta is basically there for the whole episode to be that shady bitch that you knew she was. Which of course she is not, probably, but that's the show, you know. And take a look. The other standout in the episode is Nikki. If you remember in episode 1 when she had the premiere, Nikki had all positive confessionals. Then you go in episode 2 and you basically have half of her confessional that are negative. Now, we said before to put this confessional chart into perspective. So let's put it into perspective with the context of the episode. Nikki had a fantastic edit in episode 1. And then we jump up to the episode 3, because episode 2 was the second group, you know. We jump up to episode 3 and it's completely negative. And what do you think this means? I'm letting you think for yourself the meaning of this, and while you think about that, I will talk about some other 2 standouts for the episode. Look at Crystal and Gigi. They are to the far right. Gigi is the second to the right. Crystal is the fourth from the right. They all have almost no confessionals and they are all positive. And if we compare this to the chart for all the confessionals, Crystal and Gigi are the only 2 queens who never ever have a negative confessional. And Crystal has a low confessional rate again. So, you know, it cannot be more clear than this. They put her next to the bottom on episode 3. I'm talking about Crystal, sorry. They put her next to the bottom, but then they were very encouraging to her. And then we didn't really get to see nothing of her during the first 2 episodes. So what I think is going to happen there, and I will say it again, I'll say it in oh shit. I've said it in every episode of the Chop so far. Crystal is our silent assassin. Expect her to come out and explode and starts winning challenges and starts becoming the focus of the season, because you do not hold back so much on one queen if you don't have a reason for it. And you know what? If you get to criticize her before and then she starts doing better, guess what you have there? You have a storyline, which is perfect. It's reality TV. Storylines, it's what makes it engaging. It's what makes it worth watching, because there is something to follow there. So keep an eye on Crystal and Gigi, of course, but that we said on episode 1. Gigi is continuously on your face. She is young, she is talented, she's motivated, she is the thing. I get it. I am completely sold on Gigi. So, sorry. I have nothing against Gigi. My problem is with the show. They keep portraying her with this. It's continuously on your face. Look at the front runner. Look at the front runner. Look at the front runner. Now, the problem with me is that I don't like to be told what to think. I really dislike that. And I am starting to translate this into Gigi, which I do like. That's how the edit is messing up with me. That's why they have to step up their game. That's basically the whole point of this show, calling them out so they get to step up their game a little bit. Stop pushing Gigi so much. We get it. She is the thing. Stop pushing it, because the more you push, the more I'm going to push back at some point. What else stands out in this chart? Heidi. Look at Heidi. She's the first one. She is our underdog for the whole show. Again, she has a ton of confessional time. She didn't have that much in episode 1, but she had many confessionals. She had like 30 confessionals, all of 4 or 5 seconds. So you were basically bombarded with Heidi's confessionals without having those stick on screen for so long. So, with this said, who is going on? Who is going forward? Well, let's start from the left and slowly move to the right. Heidi is our underdog. And as our underdog, she has to prove, first, that she has issues, and second, that she may overcome them and eventually outshadows other queen. That's the whole storyline of the archetype of the underdog. So she's going to stick. I think these are all speculations. These are all speculation based on this. So it's just my belief, but I think she's going to stick around much longer. I think 2, 3, 4 episodes, maybe even 5. Maybe she does in 180 and she ends up in top 4. I don't think so, but I don't think that she's going to go home soon. Not at all. She has her storyline to follow. Next up, Rock. Now the problem with Rock is that she has this storyline when she did during her premiere that basically started and closed inside the same episode. And then I thought, what the hell is that? How are they doing this? Who is writing this? Who is following behind the scene this show? You don't have a queen start a storyline in one episode and end in the same episode unless you want to eliminate them. I will give you an example about that. Think about, again, our favorite season ever, season 7. Think about the first episode. What happened with Tempest du Jour? She had her storyline start at the beginning of the episode, end by the end of the episode, and then she went home. And that's what you do. When your storyline closes, you have to go home. This is reality TV. This is not real life. Come on. So, but Rock is still here. So I have no idea what's going on with Rock. It could be bad management. It could be. Or maybe there is something coming out for her. So what I think is going to happen to Rock is that either she goes home immediately or she's going to last for the long run. There won't be any middle way with her. So could she be eliminated next episode? It could be. It could be. If I had to pick just one queen, I wouldn't pick Rock. But if I had to pick at least 2 or 3, yes, I would put Rock there, because I don't understand what's happening there. Sometimes I can put this thing into perspective, other times I have literally zero idea what's going on. So let's move on to the next queen, Britta. Britta is our villain. The villain doesn't go anywhere. We just lost one. They just kicked out Dahlia. She was, what's the word? I cannot recall the word. She was like a minefield. Is it saying minefield? Well, she was full of drama potential, and they kicked her out. So whatever we can get from Britta, they're going to get it from Britta for the long run. So she's not going home anytime soon. Now let's move on to Nikki. We already talked about what happened with her confessionals, but I want you to add a little bit to it. You have Gigi. Okay, we already talked about Gigi, but one thing of this rubbing in your face that Gigi is the top 4, Gigi is the thing, Gigi is all of this, is that by contrast, you cannot put any other queen that does the same thing next to her, because people will start comparing it and maybe find flaws. And you don't want your hero to have any flaw, so you need to cut out the competition. You don't have anybody to compare to Gigi that is too similar to Gigi. You can do it with a different queen. Because why? That puts a good contrast to Gigi. It makes her stand out. But if you have another queen that is too similar, that's not good TV. That's not good scripting. Remember that. So Nikki is my very first candidate to go home next episode. So in 3 hours, 4 hours, whatever it is. Now, next up we have Aiden. Aiden, following my own fantasy, she's going to stick around because she has been switched with Dahlia. So I don't know how Dahlia was supposed to stay in, but as a villain, I would say 4 or 5 episodes. So maybe Aiden is going home soon, but not next episode. I wouldn't put her there. Maybe in the bottom, but not going home. No. Now Jen is the real narrator of the season. She doesn't have much time, but if you look at how much narrating time she has more than almost anybody else. If you take away the strange case of Rock, and she also have a lot of confession of number of times that she comes out on a confessional. Of course, I didn't write it there because I'm not professional, so I forgot to write you there how many confessionals they actually had. But she has a lot, so trust me on this. She is not going anywhere. She is going to stay here for the long run. I don't know if she will go to the top 4. I hope so, because my sweet half is in love with Jen, but she's not going home. She's not going home. Jackie, we talked about Jackie during the rest of the episode already, so you already know what I think about it, and she's not going home first. Widow is our potential villain, and we are in a lack of villains again, so she's not going anywhere. Crystal we already talked about, Gigi we already talked about, and we're left with Jada. Jada is an incredible queen. Is possibly one of my favorite queens this season. She's being portrayed pretty shady, but uh, the show does this kind of thing. If you're non-Caucasian, you are bound to be categorized. It's an appealing show that has to appeal to everybody, and unfortunately, a good chunk of the population think that black woman is angry, shady, and so on. So that's what they're going to do. I'm sure we had a lot of confessional with a lot of people talking about a lot of shit, but they just don't show it. It's how can you say, it's business. It's business, and whatever statistically will make you more money, you have to follow that rule. So it stands on our shoulder to be smart enough to see through this and not fall for it. Okay, this is what we do here. This is what this whole chop is about. So if you're following this show and these live streams, you are perfectly on board about what's really is the scope about doing this. It's also fun, but you know. So who is going on? Well, my 2 picks are Nikki and who was the other one? Nikki and we have to pick 2. I would say it's between Nikki and Aiden, or maybe Rock. It's one of these 3. It's one of these 3. It cannot be anybody else at all. And if they're not going on, if Nikki is not going on, Nikki is my first pick. If she's not going on this episode, she's going on next episode. These 3 queens, unless Rock, she has a strange kind of edit, but Nikki and Aiden, if they're not going on the next 2 episodes, it's the next 3 episodes. There is not much going around there. So this is our prediction. This is our pick. Now, what are we going to do next week? I don't think we're going to do a live stream because the episode will come out. Episode 2, Portrait of a Villain. It's going to be a surprise. I hope I will surprise you with that. We will do predictions during the episode. If another week, another episode of the Chop doesn't come out, then we will come again on live stream and do predictions. I hope that I can remember to put a message on the community section of the channel so I can tell you guys when we do this thing, but everything is getting so mad in this week that I don't know. I'm starting to always do things last minute, not even being able to program something to be done. But one thing is for sure, next episode of the Chop is coming out next week because it's half done. So it's only a matter of tweaking around some things. Great. Now let's go to the comments, which I have ignored for the whole show. I'm sorry. Lovely Demon. I'm late, but not too late. Well, you came exactly in the beginning. So you can always rewatch it. If you like to torture yourself a little bit, you can rewatch it. Amateur Season says, my new favorites are Jackie, Gigi, Jen, Heidi, Rock, Crystal, and Nikki. Amateur Season, you picked like 60% of the queens. Tell favorites, tell us 2 or 3. Otherwise, we miss it. Lovely Demon, I'm not even watching this season yet because I'm waiting for my boyfriend to catch up so we can watch it at the same time. Lovely Demon, let me tell you, you have a real deep relationship. When you can wait to watch a show for your partner, that's true love. That's true love. My best wishes for that. Amateur Season says, I watch it with my mom. That's a great family show. I would love to have a perspective for my mom while watching the show. Because you never know, if they're not used to reality TV, you can have some interesting reactions there. Lovely Demon again. Honestly, I've been so bored with this new season. Or am I just old and bitter now? Well, let me tell you one thing. Falling in love with Drag Race, it's similar to falling in love with real people. You have an honeymoon period, and then you have the rest of your life. So maybe the same thing is happening to you with the show. You start beginning, oh, it's all real, oh, it's all about fun, it's all about love, and then you suddenly the reality of the relationship sets in, and you start realizing that you have the shady editing behind the scenes, that everything is programmed from the very minute things to the big turnarounds of the episode. Well, it depends. Put it into perspective. Again, it depends. What I found appealing, for example, is fucking around with the edit. That I find really appealing. And also looking at the queens and realize that they're all under so much pressure to never appear as a villain. That sometimes you really see it in her face. They desperately want to come out and say something like, this is so fucked up, this is full of shit, this is so stupid, and they cannot. They absolutely cannot, because you never know what will that be Frankenstein in what. So that is one thing that I find appealing. If your Drag Race bubble just broke, that's no problem. Build another one. There's always appealing things in these shows, and we're also, in a way, supporting the career of these queens. So it's not that bad, actually. Amateur Season said, I love this season so far. Everyone seems so nice. Minus who you know. Well, we already talked about that. Let's not go into that again because everybody's talking about it. That's been so much. We said what we needed to say about it, and that's it. Lovely Demon goes on and says, I like myself some cutie pies. What's a cutie pie? Oh, cutie. Oh my god, you can see that I'm not native English. You can see it. I remember feeling like Tyra was a villain. Well, it was season 2. It was season 2. They didn't really know what they were doing at the time, so that was the beginning. But season 2 was actually one of the best drama season that we had. It's definitely one of my favorite early seasons. Let's go on. Amateur Season said Aiden is okay. She's perfectly okay. And then we have Lovely Demon. I was quite upset with how the season turned out. Well, we'll see what's going to go on with this season. We'll see. That RPDR channel. Hello. You are another one of our most frequent viewers. Let's say it like that. I'm glad to see you. My first season was season 8, says that RPDR channel. Yeah, it's pretty recent. It was not one of the best recent season. It was a good season, no doubt about that. But I don't know. Something was missing from season 8. I don't know. Maybe it was because we were coming out from season 7, and so everything seemed so entertaining and stunning, and I don't know. Season 7 is not one of my favorite seasons. At the time, I remember watching it, and there was just so much Bob. It was Bob, 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 Bob. It was so much. It was too much. And when it's too much, my reaction is always the same. You basically change my feeling 180. So I didn't enjoy it very much, but it gave us some incredible queens. I mean, have you seen Naomi? I would have given her 0, like literally 0 during her season, and then everything that she did since the time, it's incredible. It's simply incredible. And she's smart too. So much for legs, 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 and the side of brains with that. Let's go on. Who do we have? Ikayab said, chart. I managed to be here just in time. Well, don't worry. We will keep this stream up for a couple days, and then we will put them only on shared, because I don't want people to come on the channel and think that this is what the channel is all about. This is just a minor part of what we do in the channel. So I will leave it there for a couple days so that everyone that is subscribed has a chance to come and rewatch the stream if they want to. But then we're going to set it only on shared so that it doesn't really appear in the channel, in the video section of the channel. Lady Baconator, I remember you. I remember you. You are frequent here too, aren't you? It's glad to see you. Heidi might get at least the top 4. I hope so, because I have a sweet spot for Heidi, but I don't think so. I think it's more like top 5, top 6. And that's because Underdogs and Redemption Edit rarely reach the top, with Adore being maybe the only exception. She was one of the no, Adore and Jinx, they were huge underdogs, and they reached the top. So maybe it's possible. We'll see. We'll have to see what turns out. If whoever is managing Drag Race decided to kick possibly the best villain of the season out in the first episode, maybe they're going to fuck up again. I don't know. We'll have to see what happens. Let's go on. My God, guys, you have such strange names. I don't even speak English well. I'm even worse in reading names. Presley Tahir Kelly. I'm sorry. Please accept my apologies. Wait, you already think Heidi leaving? Nope, no. Presley, nobody thinks Heidi is leaving. Heidi is not going anywhere. That is, I don't know if I could bet money on it, but I bet my money that she's going to stay. A lot of queens are going to go home before she does. She has too good of a good edit. So that's it. Leah Markello said, my queen Heidi. I'm happy that Heidi is receiving so many positive comments, because the first thing that I thought when I saw her is that they're going to read the shit out of this queen. They're going to do it on the show. People are going to do it out of the show, and then it didn't happen. And it's really good, mostly because the show has such a bad reputation when it comes to queens of color. It's underwhelming. We made a chart of all the villains and fucked up edit and bad edits for the whole show, and queens of color were leading with like 70% or something like that. 70%. And when you realize that they are also a minority in the cast, and you actually weight that percentage, well, if you're a queen of color, it came out that you had like an 80% chance of being portrayed in a not so good way. So people should talk about this a little bit more. It's pretty bad. Okay. Varum Shinde says Rock is going and Jackie is going to get a Miss Cracker edit. I don't know about that. I don't know. Miss Cracker, I like her on YouTube, but on the show was a tiny bit underwhelming. I was expecting more. You always have this kind of queens where they tell you who they are supposed to be instead of let them be who they are, and you come with the conclusion of what do you think they are. And with Jackie, I admit it, they're doing the same thing. With Jackie, they come out and say, oh, she's smart, oh, she's smart, oh, she's smart. Yes, yeah, show me. Don't tell me she is. Let her give her a chance to show how smart she is so that I can watch it and come to the conclusion myself. Don't tell me what to think. Because then I'm going to project it on the Queen and think she is worse than what she really is. And they did the same thing with Miss Cracker. She's funny, she's funny, she's funny, and then we were kind of left with that. So that's all for the comments. I hope I will have the second episode of the Chop out, let's say on Tuesday. Worst case scenario on Wednesday. Of course, don't forget we are on late RPDR videos, so I'll probably tell you Tuesday and then it will be Thursday, but at least I will try. Let's say it like this. I will try to have it out in time. That's fantastic for the episode, guys. I'll see you next time. And remember what's happening in the world. So if you hear a queen say that you have to support the queen and come to the live show, tell them to fuck off. Okay? Fantastic. I'll see you next time. Have a good one.